When I woke up this morning, I had an urge to eat lobster thermal. Now, I'm not pregnant, so I don't know why I'm having food cravings, but anyway, lobsters are really expensive, especially big ones, and if you're going to have a lobster thermal, you want like a really big lobster so that you can actually taste it amongst the sauce. So I thought I'd take the matter into my own hands. I'm not going to go and buy a big lobster because it costs too much. So I thought I'd see about catching my own. So I bought these pots off a retired fisherman who's just literally just retired fishing from the local area. He had a potting boat. So very good source of information. So I've attached the two escape hatches. Just tied them into the meshwork with these cable ties. And also I've put a tag for each of the two authorities that control the fishing in my part of the world. So where I am near the River Tyne, there's an authority that controls the water south and an authority that controls the water to the north. The border is right in the middle of the River Tyne itself. So now I've got a tag for each area on. I can drop these either north of the river or south of the river, depending where I think is a good spot. So I'm going to be keeping the distance between the pots quite short. At the moment I don't want to, well, I'm not sure how much rope I've got. I want to make sure I've got enough to reach the surface like 3 times, just in case the tides move the pots around. So I'm going to be attaching them just to this piece here, so they're going to be like maybe 10-12 feet apart, which means that I will be pulling them both together when I come to recover them. But these aren't particularly heavy pots, so I think I should be fine. Hope for the first go as well. I don't want to lose any of the gear. So I thought for the first go, if we just keep the 2 pots close together, and then I guess in the future it's probably worth putting them maybe 30-40 foot apart, and then you've sort of got more chance really to cover more area. But I don't know, maybe 2 pots together works too, because it's more scent for lobsters, hopefully, to come for. I'm primarily going to be fishing for lobster, so as far as I'm aware, the rule of thumb is that clean ground for crabs, so that's a sandy bottom for crabs, and in the North Sea here we get big edible brown crabs, which, you know, when you buy those, they're absolutely delicious. The claws are unreal. But lobster, they prefer rocky ground, so rocky ground meats. So as we're targeting lobster primarily, that's what we're going to go for. Also, we're going to use a smelly bait. So I've been told that salted mackerel is the way to go. So get a bit of mackerel salted, and then leave it for a good while till the water comes out. Well, as it happens, I've got a bucket with a couple of mackerel in there. I salted about 2 weeks ago, so I've been a little bit trepidatious about actually opening the bucket. It might not be very nice when I actually do open it, but anyway, hopefully they'll work as killer baits for the lobsters. If not, it'll be just a case of feathering up a couple of fresh mackerel, and we'll just put those in. If I can't handle touching the solid ones. Okay, so this is how I've rigged them. Now, it might not be the perfect system, but I'm hoping it's going to work. So, this is the first pot. It goes over the side first. It's on one of those spinners, so that should be fine. And then, so we're about 12 feet away from the next pot, which is, where's the next pot work? Okay, so that's the next pot. And that's just tied on the stop knot between this additional spin. I don't know if you need this one or not, but I'm putting it in here. So that can spin on there. And then that will attach to the main line, which will go up to a buoy, a marker buoy. So, to comply with local regulations again, they're not super strict, but there are guidelines. So I've made this flag, and I've just used a hurricane fender with the weight underneath. This weight's not heavy enough. I'm going to try using a house brick to just to cock that properly so it sits in the water. When I tried this in the swimming pool, it flag made it fall over to the side. So we're going to use 2 floats, so there'll be this, and probably going to use one of these plastic buckets with some reflective tape on it. So there's 2 markers just in case we lose one, and hopefully it should do the job. So this, I'm going to tie a house brick onto this, and then attach this to my main line. Before I chuck this down, I think I've got 200 feet of this. but I'm going to mark it at 25-foot intervals so that I can work out when I'm shooting the pots over the side how much line to put out. So what I believe what I need to have is 3 times the, like when you drop an anchor, about 3 times the water depth at high tide. Now they're going to be quite far out, so this should, that high tide figure shouldn't really matter so much, but 3 times the water depth. And see, I'll just mark with insulation tape every 25 feet, which I'll just roughly measure. My wingspan's about 6 feet, so 4 wingspans should be near enough 25 feet. Just burning the ends of the rope here so it doesn't unravel where I've cut it, but you can actually see the lead woven into the braid itself. It's good to think that I think it's good to do things by the book when it comes to this sort of thing, because a lot of people actually make their living from going out fishing for lobsters and crabs. So I think if you're going to do it as a recreational thing, you need to at least abide by the rules that are set. So everything needs to sink. Escape gaps in the pots, fair enough. And the thing is, if you know, I'm taking care of all my connections here, because if you actually lose one of these things, you end up getting this thing called ghost fishing, where the pot just keeps on fishing, and obviously, you know, there's going to be stuff entering into it and dying. So if you can avoid that, you know, obviously that's in some cases it's going to happen, but if you can do as much as you can to avoid it, I think that's only fair enough. So we're just modifying this house brick to act as a weight for our boy. Okay, let's see if it works. That works good enough for me. Hopefully they won't get tampered. So here's the baits I'm going to use. I actually thought these were going to be a lot worse than they are. They don't look too bad. They're just like they're cured, so they're, I guess, perfect. I think they don't even smell terrible. I wouldn't want to eat one as it is, like, but maybe cooked. So this is our final setup. We've got the 2 floats linked together with a spinner there. And the main line will attach to this spinner here, so we'll tie that onto there, drop it down into the water. At the top we'll run it through this, so that'll attach it to the 2 floats, and then we can tie off however much line we need according to how high the water is or how deep the water is. Hopefully it should work.
put a little bit of voodoo onto the old flag here so that nobody messes with the pots. And with a second marker here, I've got my details on, permit number, license number, etc. So hopefully it should all be legit and hopefully successful. So we're on our way out with the pots, we're all loaded up. It's high tide, so we know how much line we're going to have to put on roughly to give us an easier idea to work things out. There's a floating hellhole of a ship parked next to the marina, and it's just been playing absolutely shite music all morning. Let's go catch some lobsters. Snaggy ground I can see on the chart plotter. There isn't actually any other flags around, so even though this is an area where there are loads and loads of pots, there doesn't really seem to be anybody else claiming this little spot, so hopefully nobody will mess with my pots. I'm just going to put a mark on the chart plotter as to exactly where it is. Just trying to get myself over what I think looks like the best bit of ground. Alright, let's hope this is the lucky spot. Okay, so that's our spot marked. Let's get some bait in the pots. Right, that mackerel life smells a lot worse now. So I'm going to put a couple of little nicks into it, and then there's a sort of knot on the inside of the pot to hold it in place. Hopefully that'll stop them eating it. Okay. It's a slumpy old day. The wind's coming from the east. No, it's not strong. That's the worst direction for the northeast of you. Crab's like a clean bait, lobster's like a dirty bait, apparently. That's a pretty dirty bait. So lace this back up and let you have a look. Suspended in there. This is a creel style pot, so there's one entrance there, no parlour. We've got our escape gaps, tags, we're ready to go. mark was. Lobsters contain thereupon, or they're within the rocky confines. So it is 58 feet of water, so I'm just going to put all of my 200 foot out. This one first. There we go, good luck. Feels a bit sort of daunting. It feels like I've just thrown away my lobster pots. Like just dropping them into the ocean somehow seems counterproductive or counterintuitive. I'm pleased I took the time to wind this rope up because it's come out a lot easier than I thought it might. It's sinking really well as well, so that's good news. Okay, here's the end. Go on my float. Now, yeah, I'm going to tie a blood knot so it's well attached. That's it. The Artisan Bakery is fishing for lobsters. Good luck. And I hope I see you again. I'm going to come check them again tomorrow. I'm going to give them 24 hours. And let's hope we've had a bit of joy. So I found my lobster pots. I actually thought I'd lost them. And it's just by pure chance. I'd actually given up on them. I came out last night to check them and they were completely gone. I couldn't find them anywhere. So I've been out fishing today and I caught this great pollock, and on my way home, believe it or not, I actually saw the top of a red flag and I'm like, no way, because I've looked at every red flag around for the last, last night and today when I've been out. I had a really good search around. Anyway, I saw the top of the flag and well, I'll have a look, preparing just to disappoint myself again. But lo and behold, it's actually my flag and my marker. I must admit, I thought somebody had just come and cut the rope. Not by accident. I was a bit gutted because I was like, well, I've done everything legitimately. I've got my tags, I've got sinking rope, I've done everything as well as I can. And what I was really gutted about was the fact that I thought there was going to be 2 pots that I'd put down that were just ghost fishing at the bottom of the sea, just catching things and killing them. And I was gutted because I didn't get the chance to do this, to actually pull them up for the first time and see what might be in them or not. Oh, awesome! I've only got a caught a crab and a lobster. So that's unbelievable. This has turned out to be a pretty good day. And I've got 2 lobsters in here. Bloody hell. Wow. How cool is this? Put that one there while I get a pair of gloves. Oh, totally awesome. So I'll show you, I'll let you have a look. This is what we've got. 1 lobster, I don't know if that might not be size. I'll measure them. And then a nice big brown crab. It's got, I think that's a female, it's got quite small claws. There's the bait that I used, that salted mackerel, turned out to be good stuff. And here's another pair of lobsters. Nice sized claws. So here we go. No eggs, no V-notches. Male lobster. Size, just about size, but I'm having it. It's my first one and it's legal, so happy days. Okay, here's lobster number 2. He's not size. Go back to where I came from. Right in the side lobster. We've got another. They're pretty cool. I think this one definitely would be size across the back, but it's just got little toes. It's obviously lost a claw recently. Oh, look at the way it's grabbing on. Release. Release. Come on, let go of the pot. This lobster measured 91mm from the back of its eye to the carapace, so it's a legal lobster. First one. How good is that going to taste?